In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. We're going to get a special episode with myself and Thad Barnes from Epic Digital Media, and we're going to go through some fundamental concepts about where the AI chatbots and voice agents are shining and where they are still in development. And the first thing is that an AI agent allows us to handle conversations that are repeatable through chat, which we've all seen on the websites that have got both chatbots. Some of them are kind of dumb chatbots. They're not as dynamic as others, but there are a number of dynamic chatbots on the market where you're able to add FAQs, links, instructions, and choose the model by which you want the chatbot to converse. Thad, do you have any specific companies that you build chatbots through?
Yeah, we use Closer AI is one that we've been using a little bit. There's a number of them out there. They're all kind of, templatized versions of the same thing like you alluded to. But yeah, that's one that I do tend to like.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that I would say for most of us, the functionality in each platform is probably like 90% identical, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe 95% identical. And there's just little tiny things that are different. But the big differences are, is it AI driven or is it just reading off of set scripts? That's what I've seen as the big differentiator.
Yeah, and I think that's an important distinction, right? Because people are saying they're using AI chatbots when they're not really. They're just it's a menu prompt, just like the old phone systems were. So getting away from that to an agent which actually makes decisions rather than just if you say this, then here's my response. It's making decisions based on multiple factors.
Yeah, it should not be an A/B decision tree. It should be going and looking at and crawling very quickly all the documents and also an LLM to answer questions that people have. I agree, and that's how we deploy them also. And then what's amazing now is the voice products and our ability to do both inbound and outbound phone calls. And we're going to get into that. And I know you have some products you've developed too that are outbound for sure. Have you done any inbound yet?
Mostly what we've done is inbound. We're doing a little bit of outbound the other way. Yeah.
Gotcha. I flipped it. Okay, no problem. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and what's amazing about these tools is that they're trainable and down to the type of voice you want and the accents you want, what language they speak, and they can change languages on the fly also if you code that in. So there's lots of variation that you can build in. Obviously, what we're always concerned about is that we're getting information to prospects and customers in the most expedient way possible, in the way they want to be communicated with. And so we get our response times, as long as they're accurate, are instantaneous in most situations. We're obviously, if you've got a computer doing your answering, or outbound, you can do you can handle thousands simultaneously, thousands of calls simultaneously, and so you don't have that situation with the service desk people or the operators getting overwhelmed with calls. And then also this idea that the agents don't call in sick and don't need to go on break.
No smoke breaks, no coffee breaks, no bathroom breaks. Keep working.
Yeah, exactly. They keep working. As long as there's electricity, we're good. And then as long as you've got the human in the loop, we always say this. It's not a recommendation; it's a mandate. You have to have human in the loop and to manage and follow up and look at the reporting and the KPIs, and then continue to test. But it is a very reliable way to get work done with very little admin load. Mm-hmm. And then, we always also want to build into these systems. If there are people who are dissatisfied with the interaction with the software or the computer, that they have a quick exit to get to a human being to get the information they need. So we can't be so enamored of our technology that we lose sight of the humans. So first use case, website, we really want to have a dynamic information base for it and have it be very responsive. And then we also want to make sure that if possible, everybody's getting answers they need without having to wait on a staff person to be on site or staffing that chat. So in this case, it's a health club, and it is able to handle any kind of new client pricing and membership, questions about program services, times, locations, contact info if they do want to call somebody, and then to be able to manage the catalog of seasonal offers and updates. And for this project, we went through, I think it was 5 chatbots before we were able to find one that would manage and be dynamic enough and make good decisions. So, how many have you tested? Do you think chatbots?
Chatbots or voice?
This was chat. This was it.
Yeah. Actually, besides the early days of chatbots like ManyChat and things like that, which is I moved away from a long time ago, but in terms of AI, fully AI integrated chatbots, I really started with Closer AI, and that's where I've stayed. I've looked at a few others, but
you never used the GHL. The GHL's got like one of the worst chatbot options ever.
Yeah, no. When they launched that, I saw their demo and decided that was not for me.
Well, you were much smarter than I was, because I did deploy it and then pulled it off like after about 2 days because it was awful.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Closer's been a good one, huh?
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, and so other questions that it handles, and again, this is all built out on a database, basically a custom GPT. So you get all these documents in there and links to parts of the website that are both client facing and bot only facing. So you get all these policies and procedures, and then we always want to make sure that it was up to date, and we don't want to have to go with the let me check. So as there's a dynamic worksheet that we built that's in Google's sheet that the chatbot checks in on, looks at date and offers, and so we're able to put those in there as things come up. One marketing person updates those things, and then we're referencing that document plus the website and then the FAQs.
There's a shift happening there too, in terms of maintaining documentation and updating. there's a company called Redshift Labs that is doing fully AI integrated chatbots that you can either talk to or type to,
Yep.
that dynamically maintain your website at all times. So you don't need a separate repository, right? That if you change the website to add another product, like say it's e-commerce and you add another product, it already knows that it's there. So when you come in and talk to the agent and you ask it questions, it can deliver you to that page and say, here's the product you're looking for.
Nice. Yeah, and I think that combination of dynamic answering and then continuing to just layer on blog posts essentially or web pages, and then that the chatbot's able to basically crawl catalog and then go there when it needs it. I would imagine.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Inbound voice. You got to love this. Where I you're able now, instead of when you have a startup business, for instance, I just spun up a startup called privacy.ai, and we just got a phone number and built up an AI agent to answer the phone, and then I get an email when somebody calls in. So it is a seamless way to get the phone answered, number one, and then also it takes away the need for somebody to leave a voicemail. For instance, they just say, "Hey, either connect me now to Emanuel, and then that I have a live transfer, or if I'm not available, then it would be that call record gets emailed to me, and I can email or call that person back as needed." So it's pretty cool that you're able to have the voice receptionist route it to the correct person, email messages to the team, and then just like with the website chatbot, it has its own custom GPT that it's pulling out answers from, the same type of thing, and then it'll take messages. Pretty straightforward. Anything else on the inbound stuff, Dad?
Yeah, I think that what's one of the things we've been doing is building industry specific demo voice agents. And the way we used to do it, even just a couple of months ago, was you had this big long prompt and it had everything in it. And it led to problems, right? Because we all know that context windows get bigger, the agents and the AI models pick up the beginning, they kind of muddle through the middle, and then they pick up the end. Well, what we're experiencing on different platforms like retail and Vappy and things like that is that you can build conversation flow voice agents now, where you build out blocks and the agent decides which block it needs to utilize for the prompting based on the conversation. So, for example, if I was a home services and I have a demo and I ask about tree trimming, it would go to the tree trimming block and get all the information it needs in a much shorter prompt rather than this single prompt that has every single type of demo possible in it.
That's interesting. So it's kind of like a hybrid of A/B and pattern recognition, and so you have the A/B built out for specific scenarios,
and it can move between them, right? So in the demo, I could ask about tree trimming and then say, you know what, a pipe just burst in my house. And because I want to test the emergency response, live call transfer or whatever, and it can recognize the change in what I've talked to it about. So yeah, it's more like a web, where it can access any of the blocks at any time and recognize what it needs to do.
Yeah, that's cool. Very dynamic. Another use case that we're having a lot of success with is this appointment confirmation and rescheduling. And we're familiar with this with the 15 calls your dentist makes to you to make sure you show up. It's the old phone call, text, and email routine to make sure that you show up on time. And the beauty of this is that we're able to via API go in and pull the calendar dates every morning at 8 a.m. And then the voice agent goes and makes the phone calls and says, tomorrow you have this appointment. And it confirms the date, name, date, time. If that time doesn't work, then it can transfer it to a live person to reschedule, or it can get a message, an email details to the team, or it can ultimately also text a calendar link and have the person reschedule if that is the way that they want to reschedule. And I think this is I love this process because it's an API from the calendar. It makes the phone calls, and it has taken a considerable amount of human time off the table for the clients that implement this type of process. So I think it's cool.
I think outbound agents can be really powerful for collections as well. We've had a few inquiries in terms of that, of not collections like your credit card has been charged off, not that kind of collections. I mean, maybe you operate on net 30 terms and you've got clients that are 60 and 90 days out. Having
Yeah.
a voice agent call them and say, hey, can I, let's get this taken care of. And it is assuming they say, okay, sorry, yes, great, let me take care of that. Cool. I am texting you or I'm emailing you a payment link right now. And did you get that? Yes, I got it. Okay, let me know when you've paid that. That kind of agent can really reduce net terms.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen it both for net terms and also just in retail businesses when the credit card, it goes out of date and it can't be charged because of that.
Perfect.
And those are the uncomfortable calls that the people don't like making, and
Mhm.
it's a lot. It's simpler, very simple process for the AI to make that call, and it's not a super expensive deployment, so it just takes one or two uh, positive collections to pay for that. So
Mhm.
yeah, that is one of my favorites also. And that was what this one was about. It was about the payment due.
Oh, all right. My bad.
No, that's okay. You saw the vector I was on. That's perfect. Yeah, so this is one where there's almost an instantaneous ROI. It takes maybe a week to set it up, and then it starts calling, and it helps to get cash flowing back to the business. So again, you're able to transfer it if you need to, or get text a link to a payment link, or take a message and then have somebody reach back out as needed. Outbound voice, where you have agents who are going to go ahead and make phone calls on your behalf to people who have confirmed that they want to have a phone call with somebody, and you can again, that 5-minute window before leads atrophy, you want to have that inquiry followed up on immediately, and have that new prospect spoken with until they're ready to talk or schedule with a human. And and also some of these things where you have people who don't follow through with an appointment or something that they needed to do. And then also to do promotions, both by voice and by text when you have permission to do that. And then also re-engaging people who have been clients who have fallen out of the habit of being at your business.
Mhm.
And then another outbound agent is this pre-sales qualification. And again, you're able to program this to establish that they're interested, and then build out some timeline, some urgency, and make sure that they're a fit for your product or service, and then transfer or create a message. This is one that's been interesting. I've seen this from a couple of clients where they're actually using an agent to have a recorded phone call with people who are interested in working with the company, and so it confirms interest. It has a preset list of questions, and then creates a transcript. And then from that transcript, then you can have your agents go and make an assessment of who should get the second call. And so you can get the summary from all the phone calls, or you can build a database of all the phone calls and then have an agent summarize and create the list. So it just depends on how you like to do it. But I think there's more and more companies who are doing this, and it helps to speed up the process for your HR department. So successful deployments come from having a custom GPT built, and I use that in a general way. We call it a data repository or a data lake of the correct FAQs and then guidelines for what it should and what it shouldn't answer, exclusion words, what we call a constitution or a soul doc about how fun it should be or what tone it should be in. Also then to have some a doc around situations and who should get transferred to when those situations arise, and message formats and some of those structural things around the emails, and then some example call scripts and example recordings from live agents. And all those things help to train the voice or the chat agent to stay on brand on voice and make sure your business is being represented correctly. Any other documents or training that you use that?
That's a pretty good coverage of what we use. I think one of the most important, they're all super important, but one of the most important are the boundaries, right? Not just the FAQs, but the boundaries. For example, we have a voice agent that someone called into and asks very kind of risque questions, right? Something you would never ask a human person.
Yeah.
And if you don't put those boundaries in, the agent will do what it's told, because LLMs have been prompted and designed to be agreeable, right? Yes,
Right.
you know, and so yes, I'll absolutely do that for you. We'll make sure this happens. But you don't want that, you know. You don't want your agents promising of 75% discount. You don't want right, because that's going to be held against you at some point. And you don't, if you're in a service industry and somebody's just just friendly joking around and says, make sure that the plumber comes, dressed in a sexy outfit when they show up tomorrow to fix my sink. You don't want the agent saying, oh, absolutely, we'll make sure they're wearing lingerie, right? You don't want that.
Yeah.
So you have to build those boundaries in, because the human condition is just to mess with stuff. And so people will do it, even though you want to believe the best in people. You have to have those boundaries. So for me, that's one of the most important ones that we put in there. And then the next most important one is an example of what correct looks like, right?
Yeah, I like that.
So
Yeah.
when you're talking about call scripts, this is a successful call tree. This is exactly how a successful call looks.
Yeah, I like it, and I like that you're focused on the outcomes, right? And then that way the software is going to think about ways to get to that outcome, even to come up with some things that maybe you didn't think about.
And
it's good stuff.
I think it's important to put in message, and this is why I didn't say it's the most important. I think it's important to put in message formats, but you don't want to script it. You don't want it to say the same thing all the time. You want it to think. You want it to make some small assumptions and use different language, use different tones. So that's why I focus on outcomes, not on the script.
Yeah, I think that's good. Good training. Love it. And remember that we're constantly in the loop, and we're constantly training and updating and learning from conversations, and then updating the guardrails so that we're getting the best possible outcome from the deployment. Yeah, that's cool. And then, everything you can to provide data so that it can answer with accuracy. So there's a few things to think about inside your business. What questions do you answer? What are the FAQs? And to capture some of that, and then when or what time the calls get missed, and we can fill that. And then that is the other thing that I didn't talk about too much, was the consistency of the messaging is so much more complete with software than with humans, right? It only says the things that we've trained it to say, where humans can also get off track sometimes, get triggered by somebody who's in a bad mood, or get rushed. Those things don't happen in the same way with the software, and so it's the consistency is a nice thing. And then we also want to understand always where we are able to hand this off from AI agent into human being, so that the humans get taken care of the way they want to be. And so this talk is outgrowth of my book called The Agentic Pivot, and that in the foreseeable future, we will be interacting with agents on a daily basis, and both as emissaries of our business, and also as end users of other people's businesses. And I'd love for you to take a look at the book and then share with me what you think about the steps I've outlined in there, and the philosophy behind it. Thad, thanks so much for spending some time with me to have this conversation. I appreciate that.
It's always a pleasure, Emanuel. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and if people want to get in touch with you, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, they can go to our website, epochdm.com. We have our phone number on there. Well, you will likely talk to our AI agent, voice agent as well. You can always info at epochdm.com too, and we'll get back to you if you want to just chat, about anything, AI, marketing, whatever. We got you covered.
I love it. Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time today, and thanks for having a conversation with me.
Absolutely. We'll do it again.
All right. We'll see you soon. I hope it's been valuable use of your time today, and I also hope that you take some time to outline some SOPs or some use cases for, if not for AI agents, for some software in general that's AI driven, and that you work to get some of your work week back, your time back. And with that time, that you continue to upskill, that you spend it with your friends and your family, or that you get outside into nature and get away from the screens. This is Emanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.